Hey there folks, this is Josh, Stoney Ridge Farmer. Welcome back to the farm. It's another nasty day here in February. This is the time of year when you dread just walking out the door. It's mucky, it's muddy, it's nasty. I'm out here in my mud boots, but we've still got to get work done here on the farm. So what we've got to do right now, we're hooking up our Greg Judy bale unroller. We're going to take a couple bales of hay out to the cows here. Go ahead and unroll them. You can see them all down there bunched up by the fence. They had, over the last 4 days, they've had 7 bales dropped in there, and these cows are gobbling this stuff up. Their babies are about to blow. So we should start calving somewhere in the neighborhood of about a month from now. So we've got to get the nutrition level up with our cows. Once we get done hooking up to a hay bale, we're going to back up the bale unroller with the ATV. Once we get done hooking up to a hay bale, we'll roll out a couple bales, and then we're headed down to the sawmill where we're going to start milling up some lumber. I've got a big pile of logs, and they're not going to go anywhere unless I do something about it. So we've got to get out here despite the cold weather, despite the nastiness of the day. We've got to get some stuff done. So you guys will enjoy the sawmill footage. Some beautiful, beautiful boards will be coming off the sawmill today, and we're just going to have a good time here on the farm. All right? Woo! Woo! Stoney Ridge Farm, Stoney Ridge. Stoney Ridge Farm. So I don't like to leave the ATV outside at nighttime. I don't want to leave the opportunity for somebody to walk up here and drive off with it. And I also just don't like to leave it out in the weather. So every day I hook and unhook from the bale unroller, which is pretty simple. It's just a 2-inch ball and drop it on, hitched up, good to go. Just that simple to get it hooked and unhooked. Now we're already prepped up to back up to our hay bale right here. And these hay bales are not bales that have been stored inside. In other words, they haven't been stored inside a barn. So about that much of the top, the outside layer, is not so good. But it is good for building soil, and that's what we're using them for. So let's get backed up. The more centered we can get this thing in the bale, the better it will unroll. So we're right dead center right there. Give her a little kick, hook the chain over, do the same thing over here on the other side. Now, I can see it's definitely not centered on the other side. I'll give her a little bumpity bump and drop it down just a little bit. There we go. Like I said, the better centered the bale is on the bale unroller, the easier life will be for this bale to unroll. Now, I used this not too long ago, and a lot of people said, hey, you got your bale on there backwards, man. You can't unroll the bale that way. It doesn't matter which way the bale is on. What the goal is to spread this bale out on the land and let the cows pick their way through it. So it doesn't matter if it's on one way or the other. If it's on backwards, it actually is even better because it's rolling more hay out on a larger area of land, which spreads the cows out a little bit more and they'll consume more of it. Hey girls, y'all ready for some food? So what the cows don't eat, they lay on for bedding to keep them up out of the mud and in a drier spot. What you guys are gonna see is in the springtime, this pasture is going to explode with growth. Everywhere these cows are stepping is leaving a tiny divot that will hold water, and that will help to hold water throughout the year. So even the dry time of year, late July, August time frame here, this pasture will be growing, it'll be flourishing. So we're gonna go ahead and open the gate and roll this bale in here. And you can see these cows are big, man. These are big fatties. They are, I would say, I think there's 13 cows that are gonna have babies sometime within the next 6 weeks. Look out, girls. Woo! Look out. Look out. Look out now. Come on. Come on, girls. That's it. See how the hay bale is all spread out, the cows spread out, and thus most of the hay gets consumed. I would say that at least 85 to 90% of those bales are being consumed, and we're not using hay rings right around in this area because we want to build the soil. We're building the soil and we're putting a seed bank down on the ground. I'm gonna roll one more out, but we'll see you guys over at the sawmill. All right, we're down here to the sawmill. It only took me 2 hours to feed 2 bales of hay and get ready to run the sawmill. Everything takes longer when it's muddy and mucky like this outside. So what we have here, this is a Woodmizer LT40. It's a 38 horsepower fuel injected Kohler engine. It is a beast of a machine right here. So this critter right here, you can see it has a, it's basically soapy water to help lubricate the blade as it goes through the wood. Running a sawmill is a fine art, and I'm fairly new to running the sawmill, but I know I've got a big old pile of logs sitting right over here. Got some white oak, got some ash, got some red oak, and today what we're gonna do is we're gonna cut a little bit of red oak and we're gonna cut a little bit of white oak. Now I've got some old kind of trashy white oak that I knew I could use for just, you can see it sitting right here. It actually has mushrooms growing out of it. I knew I'd be able to use it for dunnage. In other words, for stacking lumber. So we're gonna run off basically 4x4s with that piece of wood. And then we'll go right over here to this next piece of wood. We'll show you that's a piece of red oak, and that's gonna turn out absolutely beautiful. So let's fire the mill up and get rocking and rolling. This is the control panel for the LT40, and it can get a little overwhelming. So you've got several different controls. This is up and down right here. This is forward and backward. There is a Woodmizer right here. This is what lubricates the log as the saw blade goes through. This is the debarker. This is how you turn your blade on and off, and this is how you start your engine. There are so many bells and whistles here. It's like learning how to fly the space shuttle, but we'll get her cranked up and we'll get her warmed up. While we're getting it all warmed up, we're just gonna roll this log up on here. Pretty simple. This is about I'm gonna say about a 16-inch log, something like that. And it's in pretty rough shape. However, it's still good enough to make dunnage if I could get it up on there. There we go. All right. Now, we're offloading all our lumber onto the pallet forks on the front of our little TYM 254 tractor. That thing's super handy to have. And this is my log ox, not my fog ox, my log ox, my 4-in-1 forestry multi-tool. Always down here at the mill. Bring this log up onto the log deck, roll her off. All right, so what I just did there, come over here and talk to you about it and show you what I did. This log's a lot prettier inside than I thought it was gonna be. So what I'm doing here is I'm milling out what's called a cant. In other words, a big square log. I had an opportunity right here to cut a 1-inch slab off, and I can use probably, I don't know, 3/4 of this. And the way I'm going to use this is I'm going to use these for stickers. In other words, for stacking the lumber, I'll cut some 1-inch square pieces for stickers. This entire purpose of this log right here is for dunnage and stickers and stuff like that. So this white oak will make great stickers. It's nice and dry. It's been on the forest floor for about 2 years. That's what I'm doing is, you see me working here, is squaring off a cant. And I've got 2 sides of it squared off. We'll roll it again and square off the whole thing, and then we'll cut it into 4x4s. I always run out of time, guys. Let me show you what we've got. This is a beautiful square cant. It looks awful nice. This is 8 inches, okay? So it's 8 by 8 right now. And all I've got to do is make a 4-inch cut down the middle, flip it, make another 4-inch cut, and then I've got 4 4x4s. That's it. That's what we're doing with this piece right here. Then I'll take these pieces that I already milled up, I'll lay them back up on the mill, and I'll edge them. In other words, I'll take the rough bark edge off, and then I'll cut them to 1-inch pieces, so they'll be 1x1s that'll be used for stacking. Man, you wouldn't think that that old ugly mushroom covered log would make this beautiful white oak 4x4. Look at that. Look how nice that looks. You hate to throw stuff away like this. I say throw it away, but it's gonna last for years and years and years. We can use this kind of wood for putting our hay bales on to keep them up out of the ground. We can also use it for stacking lumber. There's just so many uses for dunnage like this. And these are straight up 4x4s. I cut 4 4x4s out of this. My sawmill blade is kaput. It's about dull. Cutting this dry white oak, it really does a number on it. So my sawmill blade is about shot. It's getting dark on me. I'm not gonna have time to cut into that big red oak and get it done. I wanna be able to cut it, stack it, get it done before dark, and that ain't gonna happen today, guys. So I thought I'd just take you along, show you what's going on today. Just the maintenance stuff, getting the cows all fed, getting everything done here on the farm, and cutting out some dunnage. Milling up a log. We've got about 10 more logs over there to mill up, and we should have a nice stack of lumber for projects in the summertime. Guys, thanks a lot for joining me here on the Stoney Ridge Farm. Please pound that like button, jump in, subscribe to the channel. I'd love to have you back here on the farm with me. All right?
Well, come on down to the Stoney Ridge. Bring your wife and bring your kids. We're living life pure and sweet. That's the way it's supposed to be, Stoney Ridge.
All right, these are the stickers that we just made, and these are just 1x1 white oak. Isn't that nice? So all that wood that would have probably gone to waste is right here being reused. So nothing goes to waste here on the farm, guys. Thanks a lot for joining me. We'll see you next time.